late game insurance policy of BLG, that gives him agency. But now the question is, do BLG want to partner up that support early or try and take a jungler away from Kanavi?
Something like the Thresh could work perfectly here, where you do have that extra mobility to get away from JDG's sticky hands, but it is going to be the Wukong lock-in for Xun for this game one, where I think this is the perfect pick for Xun. You have such good early engage, as Yagao, he loves his utility champion, so Wukong really makes up for that lack of damage, and Kanavi going for the Vi.
Xun also taking the Wukong is Kanavi's most played champion of the split. Yep. Kanavi goes to the Vi, which is Xun's most played champion of this split. But it looks like we may have a late game carry off down in the bottom side as Ruler will lock in the Jinx.
It's going to be interesting to start us off. Again, only a couple of games throughout the split, but what's left available here for the hyper carry for JDG? But if we're talking about power picks and picks that really dignify a team like BLG, Yagao has loved this Veigar throughout the split.
Very, very scary pick from Yagao. I believe his KD on the Veigar is insane, but we also need to remind everyone, ladies and gentlemen, the last BO5 that Knight played on this Annie, they were the reason why they were able to grab 2 wins for the team. Game 1 was completely from Knight, and I think with him being able to be so proactive on this Annie pick, it's going to be really scary that BLG let this open. But top lane, this is going to be the next talking point because so many champions are still open, and I'm really wondering if JDG just takes away the Jax.
BLG looking towards mid lane bans here, and I think it's worth noticing as well as we head towards the second ban phase that both of the coaches here are veterans too. You got Tabe up against Homie, both of them with 2 LPL titles under their belts and now looking for more hits.
And the funniest thing is, I mean, Tabe helped BLG eliminate RNG on this massive journey all the way to the finals.
Used to coach Wei, now his assistant coach is Big Wei. We'll call that an upgrade.
That is a massive upgrade, isn't it? Right on the human bunch to start us off. But look, I want to bring it back to pick ban quickly because Sion has been taken away. Kitty, you were highlighting this, that BLG needed to take this from 369, one of his most successful champions, I'd say historically as well. And in the second phase, they're not leaving anything up the chance for that team fighting kick.
Yeah, it is going to be the Gwen taken away. They want Bin to lean more towards that Jax because Gragas is still up and available, where 369 is more than happy to take that. But if On picks something like the Nautilus, that's a lot of early game urgency or just anything with a bit of CC, because if you do flex the Addy towards the support, which is what BLG is expecting with that Ari ban, I mean, there's a lot of early kill throw alongside Xun as well.
So the Thresh locked in alongside Aphelios, very standard for the bottom lane. I'm really curious where we go with the top lane here. 5 top lane bans in our first game. And so many signatures gone, but that Gragas is available. We know both players, very capable of it. The Camille, also a bit of a signature for Bin that could potentially come out in the right matchup.
But he's also played this a lot as well. For 369, just looking at JDG's side, the Ksante has been seen as much as Renekton so far. So when the Sion's not there, pick another bruiser and 369 will be fine.
It does seem like Missing is going to pick his support here, which is going to be the Nautilus, but I'm assuming Bin is going to respond with that Renekton for that 5th spot, where they're looking for early agency because you already have so much late game securance with the Aphelios and the Veigar getting locked in. Of course, relatively well engaged with the Cage and of course the Cyclone as well. So Renekton just gives that early game urgency, which is going to be the Lulu lock-in for Missing as well.
Also, we will just say much. We've hovered over the fact Jax is available. Bin's favorite champion this split, and he has pulled out many solo kills on it.
He certainly has. Could find himself in a comfortable matchup against that Ksante, and it will be locked in. Bin with a bit of a signature pick to start us off here. BLG, quite a lot of late game power in this composition, right? You've got Jax, Veigar, Aphelios, all 3 kind of scaling carries. Whereas on the side of JDG, you do have the scaling of the Jinx, but that Annie and Vi, they have so much power in the early game.
Exactly, so much force in that early game, like you said, Munch, but we have to talk about this last pick Jax for 369. I mean, for Bin against 369, which is going to be Ksante and Jax for this game 1. But, I mean, Jax has been most played throughout the playoffs so far, and we've seen him pretty much dominate every single laning phase, but that is because Xun always works towards him and works...
Ben's Arena, it's looking fantastic, and we are on to Summoner's Rift. It's BLG in their first ever LPL finals up against defending champions JDG.
You can hear, after a bit of chaos, the excitement of finally being back in an arena After all of these years,
Yeah.
the fans finally get their gyos through. JDG versus BLG. We have been waiting for this one again.
Yeah.
As in the upper bracket, it went to a full 5-game series, and what a treat it would be if we could go that direction again with this live audience.
Most definitely. And for my first finals, I am begging that it goes to all 5 games. I don't care about our voices anymore, guys, because I want to enjoy this Shanghai experience, of course, with the audience as well.
I mean, as commentators, we put our voices on the line for game number 5. That's absolutely a trade we're willing to make. As now, the game is afoot. BLG with this Aphelios and Thresh deceptively strong in the early game. Then going to try and face check into 369 here. Already trade straight up on the bat. But let's talk early game plans here, Kitty, for both BLG, for JDG, for our junglers, Shun and Kanavi. What are they looking to do?
I mean, we have both junglers starting in their top side, where this Wukong with the red buff, he can realistically go towards that top side and just burn something on 369, because once 369 has no summoners available, I mean, Bin is going to have so many tower plates, where I think Kanavi, he is going to path and make his way towards this bottom side, where it is going to be the Jinx and Lulu for this game 1. Still relatively decent setup. I mean, it is going to be an Aphelios and the Thresh, where he doesn't have the lantern available just quite yet, but we'll have to wait and see.
But I like that you mentioned talking about topside for BLG. That's where a lot of their success through playoffs so far has come through. Bin has shone through Shun's help. That was not meant to be a fight. I didn't mean to do that on purpose, guys. It just happened, but in all seriousness, this jungle loves paying attention to Bin, and through that solo lane, they find success. So for BLG, I like that you also counteracted it with how JDG finds success through bottom lanes as well. Can Elk and On survive through, as we're already getting a level 2 and a big push here from JDG with the health bar advantage.
I mean, we saw how JDG really defeated EDG. They just went straight to bottom lane. The other ADC just couldn't play the game, where you already see Elk getting dangerously low, and you don't have the same amount of peel with that Thresh, where they also opted into an Ignite. So they're looking for early game ganks from Shun as well with this Wukong, where both junglers are going to meet at the river.
Certainly are, looking towards that bottom side. You've always got to keep a weather eye on the top lane anyway. With Bin and 369, anything could happen at any moment. And, and missing just about flashes in the nick of time.
But that hook from On, absolutely gorgeous, and an early summoner through a minion just dying was huge, as junglers now meet each other as well.
Shun wants to get the smite, but it's on cooldown for now. Kanavi will finish the job as Missing moves in just to make sure his jungle is safe. Scuttle Crab taken. But can they find more?
That is really scary, because the Gravitum gun is coming up very soon for Elk, and without this flash on Missing, I mean, Shun's already looking right now.
Oh, On's gone a bit too deep for this one. The Flay's not going to be able to save him, trying to get over the wall. The flash is there. Will walk away. Has Shun put himself in danger?
He's come in late, hasn't he? He came over the wall, won't have to flash in the end as he walks out slowly, but a Vault Breaker again onto the jungler. The hook coming through late, but it's a full health bar onto Kanavi. Under the turret, they'll find a Gravitum as well, but BLG can't find much more.
Oh, Yagao's on the flank as well. Elk stepping forwards with the damage. Missing, caught inside the cage there. No mana, but no reinforcements either, and Bin's in trouble. 369 wants revenge for the previous series here.
369 coming in with the ego. It started throughout the level 1, the early lane, but Bin is sent packing for the time being, and it's nice to see 369 with a bit of gusto in the early lane.
So much action in the first 5 minutes already, and I am not disappointed. But we're going to take another look at the replay, where 369 actually activated the Ghost, trying to look for that first blood. Unfortunately, it didn't result into too much. But talking about that bottom lane, we saw a combat Lulu going up. She didn't have the flash, she had auto attacks, and she was forcing On and Shun out of their own jungle.
And I just want to quickly mention as well, look at the bottom lane CS. Off the back of all of those shenanigans, the fact that nobody went down, Ruler has a 20 CS lead. Granted, it's minimized ever so slightly now off of Elk catching some of that wave. But even still, Ruler, massive advantage to start us off.
And this is what you expect. JDG's individual talent through their lanes. I mean, I guess apart from top lane when we're watching the BLG matchup, but even that here in this opening game of our grand final is doing so well. Yeah. Dude, look at Kanavi. That's even a CS lead in the jungle for JDG. It just puts them up about 300 gold over BLG's early game.
Yeah, JDG extremely proactive in that early game, and that is all due to Kanavi. I mean, he's given something like the Vi, where it does have that early agency. Shun, he needs to work towards that mythic item before he starts doing any damage, and of course the Cyclone as well.
And it's going to be interesting to see how the early games, not just in this one, but across the whole series develop, because for BLG, the early objectives really have been key to their strategy. When you look at them statistically, the Heralds, the Dragons early on, very much part of their game plan, and gold difference at 15, very, very high for them. So it's interesting to see them draft such a passive composition, really.
I mean, BLG, they're not getting too worried. You can't have the Aphelios bleed out too much because you still have that late game security, which is Bin on this Jax, where he's going to be able to provide so much split pressure against JDG. But Yagao already setting up some beautiful wards for this up-and-coming Dragon.
Meanwhile, what's happening in the top side? Bin's just gone to proxying, and we'll ignore 369.
Yeah, just wanders on past. He knows the junglers are in the bottom side right now. Shun will recall. Tib is used onto Yagao there as Knight just trying to force priority. Dragon is on the map. Kanavi level 5 right now. Does not have that ultimate available.
Kanavi being extremely sneaky right now, but I would honestly work towards that level 6 because by 5 and 6, it is such a big difference.
Yeah.
You just force kills from one singular button, and on not having that flash available, that is a very easy target where Shun was forced to reset, and this Dragon is getting started by JDG now.
Yeah, there's good control ward on it from JDG as they start this off. Looks like Bot gets a bit more priority again. The wave resets and starts off. BLG are looking for their way in. A death sentence there, a quick cleanse, dark passage. Bringing in, but Tibbers comes through. It is! It is indeed stolen by BLG.
Elk on the front line, triple gravitum and flashes on out. Knight can't get the stun, and now Shun re-engaging onto the fight. Yagao flashes in for a kill, and now has to escape. Death sentence wide. Yagao low on HP, taken down. Ruler getting stacks, getting resets.
That man got excited. A double kill with Zap not landing, but JDG might lose the Dragon, but winning the fight is a big deal. 2
kills into Ruler, and he is on the Jinx. This Jinx is very happy to take that, and like you said, very excited. But we saw a lot of flashes being burned there, where I believe Knight, he flash W'd in without that Tibbers because he was trying to burn Yagao out of lane, where he whiffed the CC as well, and they still came out on top, where Shun, he was able to sneak back and get his fight down before Kanavi. So it must have been unfortunate timing from this vibe, but we saw that, yeah, from JDG, once you get a singular reset onto this Jinx, it is so incredibly hard. Yeah, you see Elk also flashing away from a nice initial engage, but Yagao getting the first blood.
So tense, so close in this fight, and like you say, Ruler managing to go
so
through there.
sad.
Knight barely surviving, but I mean, 2 kills onto the Jinx this early on in the game. JDG are going to be over the moon. They're happy to sacrifice the Drake for that.
And he already had the CS lead, right? It wasn't like Ruler was down and maybe forgotten a little bit. He is now so much further ahead as Herald's being started by JDG in the meantime as well. And it's like, well, can BLG look to fight this? Even with ult up now for Shun, it feels like JDG's advantage is growing.
I mean, JDG, their entire composition is built around for this Jinx in game 1. If we take a look at BLG, I mean, you have Jax for side lane, but if this Jinx gets out of control and starts forcing 5v5s, they're rotating this Jinx up to get more tower plays and perhaps even drop the Herald there.
I was going to say, they could just slam the Herald straight away. Even Knight is up there. That's 4 players in the top lane. They don't just want a tower here. They want a kill onto Bin. Looking for the dive. There's the ultimate coming out as Knight following up. Rocket lands. Tibbers lands. Do they have the damage? Bin surviving a long time. His missing gets the kill. Now 369's in trouble.
For BLG, can they make the response dive work? It is a Ksante with all out, and they're buying so much time. JDG's wave is cleared in the bottom side as well as, look, he just was sick-footing around for the time being. BLG aren't finding nearly as much with the Herald now being popped down.
Oh, the Herald's going to drop down, and Ruler eating all 5 plates at this early in the game. I mean, JDG taking over this early game so far.
This is beautiful. This is absolutely beautiful from JDG. Just complete domination of the early game. You see a bit of a trade from BLG, but look at the goal difference, 2,000 already.
And we see the difference between the Vi and the Wukong already, where the Vi just forces so easily onto Bin, even burning the flash, but 369 on this Ksante isn't as vulnerable compared to a Jax.
The center's not going to hit there. Meanwhile, on the bottom side,
missing!
Walking into trouble, Event Horizon, he's going to be nuked with a play and a flash over the wall. Still not dead, missing! Just not 1 but 2!
How is he living that?
BLG don't get a response, and JDG must be laughing.
It felt like he completely blundered walking towards the tri-brush there, but dodges everything from Elk. That was beautiful.
I mean, his name is missing, but the entire enemy team's skill shots are missing. So maybe it's a bit of a mind control, but that is so much resources used for this bottom side, and BLG not being able to make a trade play compared to Ruler getting all that gold in top.
Shun doesn't want to give up on this bottom lane just yet, still sticking around this area. Shun has been on the bottom side of the map for like the last 2 minutes it straight.
And that's really strange to see of BLG because we see Shun is finding the most success when he is pathing towards that top side. The death sentence goes wide, missing, walking in without any vision, a little bit greedy. I will not lie, as a little Lulu, but he does have that flash available, so he was lucky enough to get over this wall and dodge another 2 skill shots from Elk. So Elk is just having a terrible start to this game.
Oh, that's so rough to watch. Again, you can see the interpretation. Wants to hit one angle, then another. But unfortunately, wide on both accounts means that there is no response from BLG. JDG now with a 2K gold lead.
And Elk gets dodged by his old support.
Yeah.
Absolutely read him like a book. He knows this player. And now Kanavi reading Yagao. He knows that player too.
There's too many stories in this game. There's too many old friendships that are getting abused here. Kanavi finding that kill, and JDG, they are ramping up the speed of this game.
Kanavi is taking over the entire map, ganking top lane, now ganking mid. Yagao had the flash available, but Kanavi executing the E-flash perfectly. He just wasn't able to react to this, and just more and more tower platings going towards the solo laners of JDG.
It's a fantastic start here for JDG. And I will say, the pace of this game has been very quick. We've not seen that many kills in the grand scheme of things, but it feels like we're constantly on the edge of action with Tibbers very much online with the way that Knight has been playing of late. You can anticipate that that mid laner is going to be a part of the action now. Rod of Ages just finished off as well.
I mean, JDG just looking so proactive. We even see Ruler rotating towards that top lane, now collecting his 6th play of the game.
It's not bad, is it?
Shun's making his way down, but On really needs to set this up well.
That's the blast cone used by On. Death sentence. Oh, stop missing. Unfortunately, he dodges again, but hey, for JDG, good as the teleport comes in.
Certainly does. Missing on the front foot, trying to find a way onto Elk here. Has vision. The Flame Chompers won't quite find it in the Lantern. Pulls him out to safety as Kanavi arrives on the scene, and JDG, full vision control. 369 is here, whereas Bin still up in the top side.
And I'm glad you brought up the Rod of Ages. They're scared of Knight coming through in Fog of War. Where is this Annie? He destroyed BLG in Game 1 in their playoff matchup. He was the reason, as Kitty said earlier, that JDG found a game out of nowhere. This Annie's a threat, and they pay respect and also pay the drag.
I'm really glad BLG didn't contest that, because there are 4 mid-picks for JDG, whereas BLG had none at the time. If Bin TPs into that play and tries to contest, like, that would be suicide.
I mean, this is the perfect example of JDG's mid and jungle being their strongest point. Knight is willing to sack that mid wave and just rotate and help Kanavi take over this map. And we've already seen this Vi do so much. Of course, missing out on the first dragon should have been JDG's, unfortunately, but they have absolutely controlled for this bot side as well.
It's so funny that we came into this. We talked so much about Shun, you know, doing so much for his team, and he's hung around bot quite a lot this game. He's tried to find something for BLG, but Kanavi's aggression, Kanavi's ability to flex between in this game has just been so much better. You can see BLG are trying to find something here. Turret plating's up to 15 seconds, and Elk is going to try for another.
The last time BLG was able to do so well up against JDG was because of 369. He was very vulnerable in the side lane, but look at the discipline. Just get the plates out of my face, and I'm not going to die.
That was the last 3 seconds to get that final plate as well into the pocket of Elk. So kind of mitigating some of the ridiculous leads that Ruler had before from the plate advantage. But still, Ruler will be a bit ahead, as you can see. 1.5 items there. Half of the tower already gone on the tier 2.
I also want to highlight that On has decided to go for the Mobies for this game one, so you see the urgency that they want, forcing flashes or even making plays around this Thresh and Aphelios, but we haven't seen too many successful ganks from this side so far.
And I feel like when you're talking about Mobies on Thresh, right, when you think of the greatest Threshers of all time, when you think about the hero moments, when you think about like Mata Season 4, it's all about him being there when nobody's expecting it. The Lantern's coming out, the Hook's coming out when people aren't ready for it, and the Mobies really lean into that.
And I will say, On's been great at that. He's been great at syncing up with jungle, and his ability to Thresh is not going to find anything here from the brush, is that on these Hook champions, on these playmaking champions, have been really strong and something to rely on for BLG through this split. So it's a shame it's not really kicking off the way you want in the grand final, but it is their first grand final. It is their first time on this big stage for some of these players. So you have to expect that BLG need to warm up as they now move towards second Herald here at 15 minutes. JDG do have a Hex Tech Rift, so they should be able to get here to match.
It's going to look like a straight up 5v5. Flashes are available for both mid laners, but I'm looking at Knight's flash on this Annie once again.
Knight has been second in the last 2 finals. And he wants to finally get another win. He's not had one since 2020, but here we go. Hook in as they're just going to burst him down. 369 trying to escape, taken down by Yagao in the end.
Knight!
Meant to be the strength. Knight over the wall, though. That stun is big indeed as Elk now. Gale forcing. Gets a big grab at him as well. The event horizon! I can see it from space as Bin flies on in. BLG's team fighting rises again.
Who needs scaling? They'll just win at 15 minutes instead. Domination in the fight from BLG.
Absolute chaos, but BLG comes out on top. I thought Knight was going to get a nasty stun once again, but no, Bin gets it instead, and they just come back from this early game lead that JDG was able to generate.
Absolutely insane fighting for BLG. I was thinking that they needed to wait. I was thinking they needed to scale, but this fight's gorgeous.
Yeah, this choke for BLG was just beautiful alongside Yagao on this Veigar. I probably should have seen JDG working towards that mid lane and getting the wave in, but we saw Knight having such a good angle here, but it was just not enough damage. Ruler was completely zoned out. Of course, Elk flashing forward, the Gravitum just gets everyone rooted as well.
That was an insane move from Elk, and that's the confidence you want to see from BLG. Bin on one angle, Elk on the other, and BLG as a unit now happy that they've got a better chance in this game.
The whole room, yeah, exactly. The whole room cheering. Savvy at the front, just stony face right there. But Elk, big moment for him, right? Hero moment in the fight with the Gravitum, and off of the back of missing everything against missing earlier. Good to see that on the stage.
And this is what we wanted to see from Elk, because I put him out before in the segment saying against Ruler, against a world champion, against a 6-time world appearance AD carry.
First ever finals too.
He felt like he held a singular weight or maybe an even weight because he's such a good, reliable source of damage for BLG in the late game, but we're not even in the late game. We're in an early game where BLG have now clawed back to 1K in the lead, and based on Elk, it's great to see in his final.
Hang on a second, guys. Is it me, or is this the exact opposite of how this series started in the upper bracket?
It is
where
actually.
JDG, where BLG, had a massive lead to kick things off, and JDG found a miracle turnaround fight and just won 3 team fights back-to-back and then won the game. Well, BLG fell behind in the early game and they've just won a fight.
Are you telling me this is all scripted and we all know who's going to win at the very end? It doesn't matter. The Dragon's going to be spawning in 10 seconds, but no flash on Ruler, no flash on Knight, where BLG, they're dropping the Herald for this top lane, so Bin having so much pressure, also having that TP available as well.
So strong as well, but BLG now grouping up as 4-man unit. That Herald gets the charge. The pressure's going to be down for now.
Certainly is. TP available for both top laners here, as Elk just trying to brute force the priority, will be able to do so. Kanavi can't really walk in, and that ward will be a bit of a pain for Kanavi. Will clear it.
And Kanavi needs to choose these engages very wisely, because once you go in, I mean, Yagao's cage is going to trap you in, and Elk's guns, I mean, they're looking amazing. Kanavi goes into the pit.
Kanavi's in the back of the pit. There's a stun coming through onto Shunt as well. He's in all kinds of trouble. It's the clone. But it's Kanavi to take the Drake, now trying to retreat. It's actually Bin on the other side.
Meanwhile, getting taken out, you're right, the rapid fire cannon on the Jinx here doing a lot of work, but the counter-strike buys time. However, BLG have abandoned him. They've already lost the Dragon. Now the top laner down as well. JDG with numbers and mid priority.
They've got a cannon for the tower as well. They get a Dragon, they get a kill, and they get the mid tower. This is an insane little play from JDG.
It's just crazy. We are going back and forth, and some real nice macro in our game 1 of finals for this split.
Exactly, and Kanavi sneaking over the wall exactly like how Shun did it. There's a lot of dragon stealing, to say the least, for this game 1, but I'm really surprised that Bin was put out in that mid lane. I was saying that he had TP, but he just walked his way to that middle wave, and Ruler being at the very back, he did get excited off the dragon and just went straight to mid lane, might I add. And Bin, I mean, just the amount of CC from 369 wasn't enough to get away.
Certainly wasn't. Bin getting caught out here, and I think Bin just not quite being on the same page as the team, right? Like, he's obviously looking for a fight, while the rest, I mean, Shun was so chunked already. I'm not sure that was a fightable position.
And I might add in that fight, I mean, for JDG feeling confident because Ruler had his second item, the rapid fire cannon came through, where Elk is only just now getting the Infinity Edge.
Yep, this Jinx is going to be a very big pain for BLG to deal with, because you have relatively tanky members, but not tanky, if you know what I mean. You don't have a true Ksante on your team. Like, he has the Frostfire, he has the Ninja Tabbies. No Ksante is scared of a Jinx, but you know who is scared? A bit of a Shun, a bit of a Bin, and a bit of a Elk, to say the least. But it really depends on Ruler's 3 item spike, because we need to throw back to how they won Game 5. It was this Jinx pick, and it was spiking at that 3 items for this Jinx, where she was able to just turn around every single team fight, 3 back-to-back ones.
Yeah. Feels like a similar story for both AD carries, right? Where Elk and Ruler both now on the 2 items, looking for the 3rd, looking for that big spike. But I feel like the game is now pivoting towards the top side. 3 minutes until Dragon is up, which means Baron Vision Control is the name of the game.
Already placed out. Look at the control wards from JDG. I mean, you speak of vision, but that's a Christmas tree up in that top side. And JDG's priority on vision has never really changed, has it? Previous versions of JDG, even now, we are still looking at that same dotting I's and crossing T's. BLG try and commit to clearing it while JDG looks for an angle.
Do Knight. Just about dodging the stun and finding one of his own. Helps the target, but he will flash away on maybe a consolation prize as he flashes too. Shun in the middle of everyone, and he's the one to go down at the end. Infernum is insane! And Bin's looking to clean up.
He can clean up. Look at the health bars. They're so damn low, but a double kill going down. Ruler! Again, these 80 carries are out of their mind.
They kill everyone, but they forgot about the Jinx. Now they're going to work towards this Baron, and JDG's getting started.
It feels like these fights are just heroics on heroics on heroics. Baron starting up Yagao and Elk, the two remaining that have to stop the attempt.
You like hero stories? Let's create another one. Baron's going to be disengaged now by JDG, so BLG can have a sigh of relief, but this game one already delivering as we go through again.
No risk because Yagao did have that spellbook available, but this all started with landing a double stun from Knight. And we've seen this way too many times. Elk flashing away, but on, unfortunately, not as, I guess, lucky. And Shun, of course, being the Wukong, is very squishy, but everyone died except for Ruler. Ruler picks up one kill, and he just starts killing everyone else now. And Bin, of course, he did TP in and get this kill, but you need this Jax ahead, and he just keeps giving these bounty goals over to Jinx.
Oh, 369, you're in all kinds of trouble. The all-out won't save you here. Missing trying to move on over his own. Flies across the map. We got Spider-Man on the rift here. Wild Growth comes on through, and 369 is actually still going on this one.
Is he not dead? I mean, the TP, the all-out, the turnaround, the dark passage back in. Elk hasn't joined in as BLG run away. That man should be dead.
I can't believe he's got away with that one, honestly. Tanky enough to survive for now. 45 seconds on the Drake as everyone's still in this barren area. But you can see JDG starting to move.
Yeah, JDG did have a really nice ward in the pit, so BLG hasn't spotted that one out just quite yet, so they're not pressured to work towards this Baron. So they're going to start it though, BLG.
Alright, just do it. They got red and white on Elk.
Go down quick. JDG moving into position. Kanavi over the wall, though. As you said, Kitty, that ward could be the difference here between a steal. Going down as well, taking the damage with a hook land, but Knight again! One Tibbers jumps on in. Cyclone comes through on the back line. Bottom now, Knight is down, but it's a cluster!
Ruler is popping off. He takes that one, and he's got the reset spin, trying to close the gap, but he just can't get close to the Jinx here. Now chasing onto Yagao. He tries to get through the Hex Gate, but you got no chance. And Ruler taking over the final.
That's the world champion for you. Give him the triple, but don't give him Jinx again.
He is so happy. I mean, that is the best teamfight scenario that JDG could have prayed for. A beautiful engage from this Annie once again, but this front-to-back composition is getting executed very well by JDG in this game one.
I mean, look at it. Look how brave Ruler is at the start. He sees on out of position, and he just goes for it.
I mean, he takes the hook, but it doesn't matter. He just uses Cleanse straight away. On instantly deleted. But every resource has been used onto this Annie, where Jinx, once again, untouched. And I mean, Kanavi on this Vi, very big nuisance alongside 369, when Elk, being the secondary carry, isn't able to do too much.
I just think we're watching this fight, the cleanup. It's insane, but Knight on Annie yet again, even though it's a different pace from what we remember.
Well,
okay, guys, might not be Zeri, but still a hyper carry.
That's probably more than anyone else has done all game right there.
You know what's really interesting? Ruler has always preferred the Zeri, Aphelios, and Jinx. A lot of ADCs have been picking up the Xayah because it's just such a good champion that works towards a lot of these melee top laners, which is something that Elk is very fond of, but Ruler having a champion skin on it,
I know,
he just goes for the Jinx anyway.
It's kind of funny, really, considering he's played it, I think, 3 times so far.
That's correct.
When he has the skin for it, kind of funny to see.
What happened down here?
Play on the bottom side. I'm not sure if this is live or a replay right now. I think this is live. It's Yagao. He's got a shield, but Knight is just dominating him in the 1v1. He's had second twice, and now he wants first.
And JDG, I mean, again, it's been back and forth. We've seen some messy fights, but this just feels like it's growing and growing in their favor. Bin might find something in the top side here to push it to the limit, but JDG have just now picked up Soul Point.
Not too dim for BLG fans just quite yet. The macro game is still strong. Bin putting on a lot of work into the side lane. Shun also consistently hovering this Jax, just in case 369 does decide to come towards this top lane and respond, but I don't think the Wukong and Jax has enough damage to ever kill this Ksante.
I feel like we're really seeing a never say die attitude from both teams in this game. Every time someone's doing something on one side of the map, there's an answer, and Bin is being found on the bottom side for now. The counter-strike leaps over the wall here, but the rocket dodged away from Kanavi! flashing on in and finds his mark.
And BLG won't get a response from it. They'll even push this further. The Baron buff, the damage on Ruler, and the follow-up potential. JDG now looking for an inner to push this to 7,000 in the league.
A lot of picks from JDG. People are just getting caught left and right in this bottom lane. 369 also working in that top lane. It is a 4v4 situation right now, but without Bin and having that E-flash available, you can't catch Ruler off guard.
You gotta say, Bin was talking a lot of smack to go 3-5 in his first game of finals here. It's a bit of a turnaround in the top lane from what we saw in the upper bracket
Oh
final
my
between
God.
the two teams. Ruler is doing some serious damage here, and the siege will continue all day long as the Grafton comes out from out, but he has to back away here.
Someone needs to respond to 369 in top lane
Ambitious,
as well.
Shun's going to come in with a whirlwind. As you said, Bin's coming
Bin.
in though. The flank's used, but Kanavi's found him out. Shun's trying to cyclone, but Ruler again, untouched at half HP. Look at him go.
He wants more as Yagao dodges the zap here. Tibbers to tank the tower. They're looking for an in
it
here.
is.
Ruler just hammering away as in goes Kanavi and almost finds two on the backside. Yagao moving forward. Kanavi golden as they get onto the fountain, but they're forced onto the fountain. It's only 26 minutes in, and now Ruler can charge on through.
I think they can find the kills. They can find the end here as well. No one can deal with Ruler as Bin just has to go into the pit to the fountain. And BLG, this might be their end.
We were so busy looking at the bottom in hit, the top one's gone as well.
369 just took 2 towers and 1 inhibitor by himself as a Ksante.
But can they find the next Nexus turret? That's what I want to see. Teleports coming through. BLG, the death timers on Shun are coming up soon, but he has no Cyclone as they jump in. Flashes forced, Nexus exposed. JDG return to their Hall of Fame for game 1 of the finals.
What a performance from JDG. The definition of give an inch, take a mile right there. Domination, one great fight from BLG at the Rift Herald, but beyond that, this was all JDG.
Yeah, I mean, Bin, in his interview, he said that League of Legends is a 5-man game. And JDG really did respond with that game 1 and said, Bin, get out of top lane and start playing some team fights.
But, I mean, 369, what we're talking about was 369 struggling in the lane. He didn't throughout the early phase. He was fine and did it completely fine. Apart from the 30 CS difference.
He's rolling 9s in this
He
game
was.
1. He did not get caught out a single time on this Ksante. Not a lot of jungle pressure, to be fair, where we need to talk about Shun on this Wukong, where I think he was a little bit invisible compared to Kanavi on the Vi as well.
Which, to be fair, is what his W does, so I can see him being invisible a lot during that first game. Absolutely insane performance out from JDG in game number 1. We're going to head over to our desk to break that one down.